A statement from Tottenham Hotspur owners, the Lewis family, and Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham has come out and said this summer's transfer window is crucial. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Now, Tottenham Hotspur owners, the Lewis family, have sent a message to the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. It says, to the fans, as owners of 25 years, we have lived the highs and lows of Spurs with you. Finishing 17th this season and last season does not reflect the stature or potential of this football club. We are bitterly disappointed and share your frustration. You and we expect more than this. We know this must never happen again. Our approach to running this football club is and has been is to trust the experts that do that while backing them to be successful. The problems we found were deeper than we realised and were allowed to build over the last few years. We know that this has eroded trust and we have to win that back. As owners, we take ultimate responsibility for the situation in which the club finds itself. We also take responsibility for rebuilding Spurs. Our ambition is to recapture the spirit of the club and bring back the excitement, the fearlessness and the bold football we have always felt defined us. That means football comes first. The board executive team have laid out their plans to meet this ambition. This will require investment in our teams, the academy, our backroom functions and more, and we are fully committed to this. We are not selling the club, we are all in. We are investing in it. You will see more of this in the coming months. We care deeply about Spurs. The rebuild the club needs and you deserve has begun. The change required is deep and it will take time and commitment, but change is happening. We know the actions will speak louder than words. The Lewis family. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham has been talking to BBC Sport about Tottenham's survival on the final day of the season, finishing 17th and being just 2 points above the relegation zone. He said, I think it was just a huge outpouring of relief, but obviously feeling relief at the end of the season is nowhere near the standard of this football club. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham talking to BBC Sport, he said, on my very first day, what I thought was a realistic target for the men's first team was that we would be competing for European places. If you'd asked me a few months later I joined, when I was no longer an outsider, I would have told you that the club was in a significantly worse state in some places than I first thought. That is absolutely not meant to be a criticism of anyone or anything. It is just what I found. It was very clear that this wasn't some form of turnaround that was required of the club in quite a few areas. It was really a complete reset. If I had to generalise, I would say on the non-football side of the club, in particular around the stadium operations and commercial, that the club was and is really strong. I think if you look at the football side of the club over a time frame of 5 years or so, there has just been an explosion in progress across the Premier League. I'm not saying that Tottenham didn't improve in that period, but what I can tell you is when I look at where Tottenham were in many of those areas compared to where I believe other Premier League clubs are, there was a significant gap. In some areas, really quite worryingly so. I don't think that there was what I would call a relentless obsession with football success. Our training centre is amazing, one of the best, if not the best in the world. But when you look around, it looks more like a 5-star hotel than it does a performance environment. That will change over the summer. I think that there are many areas where the club hasn't got the right level of expertise. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham on the board wanting to keep Thomas Frank there for as long as possible and not making a change earlier on in the campaign. He said there has been plenty of coverage of that the club were passive during that period, and that is absolutely not true. Now, Vinai Venkatesham has stated that they tried to get De Zerbi in after Thomas Frank, and the appointment of Igor Tudor was a risk. He said, obviously, we were very disappointed when it became clear that we wouldn't be appointing Roberto De Zerbi on a permanent basis in February. We were then in the interim market, which is generally not the broadest, but there were a number of reasons why Igor Tudor was selected. He had managed in a high-profile and high-pressure environment before. We didn't want somebody that was going to wilt under that pressure. He has a history of making an immediate impact. He has managed in big clubs. He has quite a different personality to Thomas, and we felt like something different was needed at the club. But of course, we were really aware that he had no Premier League experience. Was there a risk in appointing him? Absolutely. It didn't work out. I think it's clear it didn't work out, and I don't think that is in question. I don't think anybody would argue anything else. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham has been talking about the Tottenham Hotspur fans. He said, I understand the frustration around the supporters. I think Tottenham supporters have been frustrated for some time. This is 2 17th place finishes in a row. It is clearly not good enough. I think that is rational, normal, sensible, and is what we would expect from the supporters. The club has had some serious challenges that it needs to address. On the football side, we know what those are. We are addressing them. We are fixing them. Those challenges have not disappeared overnight. They built up over many years. I wish I could wave a magic wand and fix them overnight, but that is not possible. It takes some time to fix those issues. So I have complete confidence in what we're doing now and how we're doing it, but supporters are rightly impatient. So I have to weather that storm. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham on dealing with criticism from the Tottenham Hotspur fans. He said it's not easy. You have to develop a thick skin. I'm helped by the fact that I've been in football for a while, for the last 15 years. So it is not new to me. It is a game of opinions, and I have absolutely no problem with being criticised. I have got no problem with anyone in the game being criticised. It is part of the job. The challenge in football is that the criticism frequently goes way past the line for players, referees, executives. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham on Spurs boss Roberto De Zerbi. He's come out and said, I think he has made an extraordinary impact so far. We have to recognise that it's early days, and we also need to recognise that he has come into a very difficult situation. It is hard to underestimate the scale of the challenge that he walked into, and it is hard to describe what a significant impact he has had in the dressing room with all of the players. I think he is an excellent coach, and we think that he plays the style of football that our supporters and the broader football public want to see. Tottenham Hotspur CEO Vinai Venkatesham on the Spurs squad and the summer transfer window coming up. He said the squad needs work and the squad hasn't got the right balance. We need experience and leadership and also that kind of physical robustness to play in the most demanding league that exists. We need to strengthen the club over multiple transfer windows, but this transfer window in particular is going to be critical. Now, my thoughts on the stories in this episode, talking about the Lewis family statement, talking about Vinai Venkatesham's comments to BBC Sport, and of course, only a couple of days ago, Peter Charrington, the non-executive chairman at the football club, also spoke out about a number of issues. And I'm so glad at this stage, after everyone is feeling excited about the football under Roberto De Zerbi, because let's be very frank and honest about it, without Roberto De Zerbi coming in, Spurs would never ever be a Premier League team. I'd be sitting here, actually I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about Tottenham today, because it would have been that depressing that I wouldn't have wanted to talk about Spurs being in the Championship. I'd have probably had a good time out from this channel and so on. But we are in the Premier League for next year, and it is all about ambition for me. And I'm so glad that all three statements and all three pieces have come out and said pretty much the same thing. This isn't good enough at our football club. We have gone through 3 managers this season, 4 in the last 12 months. We cannot continue to operate like this. I'm so glad that Vinai has come out and said that things aren't good enough and things need to improve. And, his time at the football club, his short time at the football club, he has realised that things aren't as they should be. The Lewis family have come out and said as well that, they have trusted certain people to do things and they haven't done it properly. So this is exactly what I thought would happen, actually. The season would get done and dusted. Spurs remain a Premier League team, and now I think there's a lot of investigating to be done, and I think there's a lot of investigations going on at the moment, and there will be a lot of finger pointing as well internally at the football club, saying, well, why has this happened? Why has this happened? Why was this decision made? But you've also got to ask yourselves, under Vinai Venkatesham, under Johan Lange and the management team, etc., why did Thomas Frank stay as long as he did, this season? Because we all could see clearly that this wasn't going to work out. We could see clearly that we needed enforcements in the January transfer window. So why didn't those types of things happen? I know when Johan Lange did his short statement through the club saying, well, there were only 33 transfers in the entire January transfer window and players would be coming back. Well, that wasn't the case. Of course, towards the end of the season, James Maddison come back. But we expected, players to be coming in and making a real difference. Igor Tudor, that appointment was clearly a wrong one. And it was a disaster, in fact. Only 1 point out of all those matches he managed in the Premier League. And he was meant to be a firefighter. So Vinai to come out and say that it was a risk. Well, why did you take that risk? Because I've no doubt that there are a lot of other people available and people putting themselves forward as well that wouldn't have been that risk. But has it worked out for the best overall with Roberto De Zerbi coming in? With Igor Tudor going out the door? Absolutely. Do I feel excited about Roberto De Zerbi going forward? Absolutely. But of course, I'll go back to that point again. I've said this on a couple of media interviews, so sorry if you've listened to them and I'm going to repeat myself. But in 2019, Maurizio Pochettino said that, we've got this wonderful mansion that we've just moved into, and this mansion that we've been in now for 7 years, we need to put the furniture in it. We are still there. This furniture, top quality furniture, needs to be put in this mansion for Roberto De Zerbi to, get us back to where we belong. And I'm so glad I actually said, walking from the stadium after the Everton game, when I knew that we have survived relegation and we remain in the Premier League, I used those words, put us back to where we belong. And those are the exact words that the board and the owners have used. And I like that. I like the fact that they want us back to where we belong, not just plodding along and certainly not finishing 17th twice in a row. Major changes need to be made. I could honestly sit here for hours upon hours going through the things that need to be done. Now, Football.London yesterday stated that Vinai Venkatesham is very much part of Tottenham's plans with the Lewis family, etc. Football.London also stated that Johan Lange's position is under serious threat. And if he does stay at the football club, it will probably be when a new sporting director comes into the football club. But also, from what I understand, Tottenham want to have 2 sporting directors. So whether Johan Lange will stay at the football club to oversee some sort of changeover and then he will go out the door, that is another question mark at the moment. I've no doubt that lots of changes will be made at the football club internally. Some we will know about, some we won't. And of course, on the football pitch, the football playing side, Roberto De Zerbi, of course, we all hope and wish and pray that we see a very ambitious Tottenham Hotspur going forward to be challenging for top honours, because I'll say it again, at the start of the 25-26 campaign, Daniel Levy and board members said that we want to be fighting on all fronts. That's exactly the reason why they sacked Ange Postecoglou for finishing 17th. And we finished 17th again and very, very nearly got relegated. When I saw during the campaign that Spurs actually fell into the bottom 3, honestly, it made me feel sick. I did not like that period at all. This has been a really tough season for us all. A very, very tough season. Home matches, very tough. Away matches, very tough. Under multiple different managers, very tough. Like they've also said as well, we should not be here. We do not want to be in this position anymore, ever again. And hopefully that is the case. But what I would say about Johan Lange and the way that Spurs deal with data, I also think that Spurs do need to do things a little bit different as well in actually using our eyes to see whether players are any good, and not just going down the data route of young players for the future, because it should be a mixture of academy stars coming through. That hasn't happened really in the last couple of years under multiple different managers. The players that are coming into the football club, it is just all about data. It needs to be a lot more than that. Experienced players need to be a part of this squad as well. So, you know, Spurs do need to actually go out and sign older players, in my opinion, as well. And I know certain people say, oh, a player is 29, oh, he's 30. Oh, we can't possibly have a player of that age. You know, he's not one for the future. Look at João Palhinha, for example, the age he is right now. Now, he has made a real difference. João Palhinha, these are types of players that you need in your squad. A lot of people are also in the last couple of days been moaning or questioning or criticising the possible signing of Andy Robertson, who is 32 years old, from Liverpool. Someone like that will add vast experience. You know, a lot of people have been bigging up someone like Ben Davies. Well, it looks like Ben Davies will be going out the door this summer. You know, people like him, the experience and what they bring to the dressing room, not only when they're on the pitch, but off the pitch as well, is absolutely huge for a football club. But like I've said, I could sit here for hours. I'm going to keep this very short and brief, because all I'm going to say is that it is about actions. It is not about words. I just hope now that the Lewis family, after their statement, Vinai Venkatesham after his statement, Peter Charrington after his statement as well, after all of these statements, it's very clear and obvious now that they want to improve the football club. And I hope that this is very much a thing that they do, because there's no excuses left anymore. Absolutely no excuses. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Have a great week. Stay safe and well. I'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Spurs.